Hi, I'm Kimberlie. Welcome to the Native News Update. It's Tuesday, October 25th. Many of the stories you hear here can be found at IndianCountryNews.com. And here's the news for the day from the Associated Press and other Native news sources. It's a disturbing pattern in South Dakota. Hundreds of Native American children are placed in state foster care every year. An NPR News investigation by Laura Sullivan found many are taken in questionable circumstances, while the state is largely failing to place them with their family and tribes as federal law requires. The families, often impoverished and lacking resources, are left with little information and minimal power to fight back. Some wait years to reunite with their children. The children, designated special needs by the state because of their race, are almost exclusively placed with non-Native families or in group homes, despite the federal Indian Child Welfare Act, which mandates that Indian children be placed with relatives or tribal members. These are among the many exclusive findings of an NPR News investigation breaking today. The investigation examines how lack of knowledge about Native culture and traditions and federal financial funding all influence the decision to remove so many children. Correspondent for NPR, Laura Sullivan, reports a three-part series, Native Foster Care, Lost Children, Shattered Families, which began today with a 22-minute story on All Things Considered. Parts 2 and 3 will air later this week on All Things Considered and Morning Edition. Additional information and follow-up interviews will be available this week and next on Talk of the Nation and at npr.org. The United Nations on October 24th urged the government of Paraguay to enact new laws to protect the rights of minorities, in particular women and indigenous people. During her visit to Paraguay, the UN Deputy High Commissioner for Human Rights, Kyung-Wak Kang, called on the government to scale up its efforts to stop discrimination and injustice towards women and indigenous people. She met with leaders from minority groups and civil organizations to hear the challenges they face on a daily basis. During her visit, Kang also met with indigenous leaders who expressed concern about their ancestral lands and feared that the government will evict them. She also called on the government to protect the rights of indigenous people and other communities. On December 2nd, President Obama will host the White House Tribal Nations Conference at the Department of the Interior. As part of President Obama's ongoing outreach to the American people, this conference will provide leaders from 565 federally recognized tribes the opportunity to interact directly with the president and representatives from the highest levels of his administration. Each federally recognized tribe will be invited to send one representative to the conference. This will be the third White House Tribal Nations Conference for the Obama administration and continues to build upon the president's commitment to strengthen the nation-to-nation relationship with Indian country. As the Canadian federal government's Aboriginal Affairs Department shifts its effort to boosting First Nations businesses, child rights advocates criticized Ottawa's funding for schools on reserves, alleging officials are shortchanging First Nations youth. While Aboriginal Affairs Minister John Duncan announced new federal funding to Aboriginal businesses in Ottawa on October 24th, critics released a new report calling on the United Nations to review Canada's treatment of Aboriginal children who are forced to attend schools in deplorable conditions. Each child on a First Nation receives between $2,000 and $3,000 less a year than children of other Canadian schools, says the author of the Shadow Report to Canada's recent submission to the United Nations Committee on the Rights of the Child. They say the disparity has led to a lack of resources for Aboriginal students, affecting everything from libraries and computers to issues such as overcrowding and declining graduation rates. The report urges United Nations Committee members to consider 12 recommendations. Among other things, it calls on the world body to conduct a special study on Canada's education system for children on First Nations and to demand that the Canada allocate more funding for the communities. The future of the almost 1.7 million American Indian and Alaskan Native youth will be the main focus of this year's American Indian and Alaskan Native Heritage Month, celebrated every year during the month of November. The announcement of this year's theme was made by a group of leading national American Indian and Alaskan Native organizations in collaboration with a number of tribal and federally government offices. The group also announced the launch of AIANHeritageMonth.org, which serves as a resource for youth, the general public, and organizers of Heritage Month events. Native youth are a growing population with almost 1.7 million Native youth under the age of 18, representing 31.6% of the 5.2 million American Indian and Alaskan Natives counted in the 2010 census. Though many statistics related to Native youth underscore various challenges, Native Heritage Month will highlight the positive stories and opportunities that are inspiring the youth-based resurgence of tribal culture and economic opportunity. The viral online video, That's My People, recently produced by Native youth at the National Intertribal Youth Summit, is featured on the newly launched website and tells this story from a youth perspective. For a list of events being held in the month of November, you can visit aianheritagemonth.org. The Nevada Indian Commission will honor 4 Nevadans on November 5th at the Governor's Mansion in Carson City for their important contributions that have helped the American Indian community in Nevada. The 2011 American Indian Achievement Awards Banquet and Silent Auction is the first statewide effort to recognize those individuals in the state who have influenced the lives of American Indians. Receiving achievement awards in each category are the American Indian Community Leader of the Year, Wanda Batchelor, chairwoman of the Washoe Tribe of Nevada and California, for her exemplary leadership. She is the tribe's first chairwoman and has been active in the preservation of cultural and traditional interests for tribes and tribal interests on the state and federal level. American Indian Youth Service Role Model of the Year, Cheryl Hicks, Walker River Paiute tribal member, for her commitment and dedication to the advancement of American Indian youth in Nevada and her assistance in developing the first Paiute language course within the Washoe County School District. The American Indian Youth Ambassador of the Year is 10-year-old John Rupert, a descendant of the Duck Valley Shoshone Paiute tribe and the Washoe Tribe of Nevada and California, for his outstanding leadership in academic achievement, cultural knowledge, and being a positive role model for other American Indian youth. And the Contributor Supporter of the Year, 96-year-old Hillman Toby from Pyramid Lake Paiute Tribe and Reno Sparks Indian Colony, for his lifelong contribution to the American Indian traditional way of life. His knowledge of the traditional culture of Nevada's tribes and traditional American Indian arts has served to educate the public and his community about northern Nevada. Gail Johnson, a Bishop Paiute tribal member, will provide the evening's entertainment, with all proceeds from the evening benefiting the Stewart Indian Cultural Center. For more information on the Nevada Indian Commission and the Achievement Awards Banquet, you can visit nic.nv.gov. And for more information on the Stewart Indian Cultural Center, you can check out stewartindianschool.com. Climate change has altered the lives of Native communities in Alaska's interior in dramatic, sometimes dangerous ways. Although the effects of change are well documented along the coast, where higher tides and ferocious storms have threatened Native communities, a study by the U.S. Geological Survey has found indigenous people in Alaska's interior also have felt the transformation to a warmer climate during the past several decades. The study, appearing in the October 2011 issue of the journal Human Organization, is a rare but increasingly common kind of research that tried to match the traditional knowledge of people at the site, hunters and village elders, with scientific data. Greg Gerlach of the Alaska Center for Climate Assessment and Policy at the University of Alaska Fairbanks said local lore was valuable to scientists because the lives of the Native population in the upper latitudes is intricately linked with the climate, weather, and ecosystem. Aaron and Martha Alden, both enrolled members of the Crow tribe, moved into the first home completed in the Good Earth Lodges program. The 900-square-foot energy-efficient home with a sloping roof sits on a hillside on the west side of Crow Agency. Built with compressed earth blocks, which are made from sand and clay, mined and produced on the reservation. With about 8,000 people living on the Crow Reservation and a demand for 1,500 new housing units, every new house is good news for the tribe. A lack of single-family dwellings drives many families off the reservation. Others move in wherever they can, according to Larry Fallsdown, project manager of Good Earth Lodges. "We have invisible homeless," Fallsdown said. "Nobody will tell you they're homeless because they're able to live with other family members. The compressed earth block house is one of 5 built through the Good Earth Lodges project with stimulus funds from the American Recovery and Reinvestment Act. The program kicked off in 2010 using local materials and a homegrown workforce to build desperately needed homes. The Federal Office of Indian Energy and Economic Development is working with 2 other tribes on using compressed earth blocks to build homes as well, and the Crow tribe would like to assist tribes who want to duplicate their success. Nike N7, an initiative that encourages Native and Aboriginal youth to be physically active, will host its first annual Nike N7 Sports Summit at Nike World Headquarters in Beaverton, Oregon, Friday, October 28th to Sunday, October 30th. Since the Nike program began in the year of 2000, the N7 Fund has generated more than $1 million to help Native and Aboriginal nonprofit groups provide access to sports for young people. The conference has attracted grassroots youth recreation leaders, including nonprofit representatives, wellness coordinators, coaches, and Native athletes going by the title of Nike N7 ambassadors. Prominent names that will be there include golfer Notabegay III, Lorenzo Neal, retired NFL player for the San Diego Chargers, Craig Robinson, the head men's basketball coach at Oregon State University, Wanique Horn-Miller, an ambassador for Indigenous Action and the co-captain of Canada's 2000 Olympic national water polo team, and Kevin Corral, a prominent author for ESPN Disney and a National Basketball Association athletic trainer. For more information on the summit, you can visit NikeN7.com. And that's the latest roundup of news from Indian Country on this edition of the Native News Update. I'd like to thank you for joining me and have a grand day.